Welcome to Global English Podcast. Today, we're talking about something that is just so central to almost every conversation you have as an adult.
Yeah, your job, your work, what you do every day.
Exactly. When you meet someone new, maybe at a coffee shop or a party, one of the first questions is always, so what do you do?
It is. It's how we start to, understand each other. But for a lot of English learners, that simple question can feel, well, it could feel like a test, a really stressful test.
Oh, absolutely. You might be amazing at your job. Maybe you're a chef who creates incredible dishes.
Right.
But when someone asks you in English, you freeze up and all you can say is, I cook food.
And that just doesn't feel good, does it?
Yeah.
Doesn't capture your skill or your passion. Or maybe you're a brilliant hotel receptionist, managing reservations, helping guests from all over the world. And your answer is just, I stand at a desk.
It's that feeling of your words not matching your real ability. And that's why we're here.
Yep. Our mission today is to give you a whole set of simple, really useful English phrases.
We're not talking about complicated grammar. We're talking about clear, confident sentences you can use right away.
To talk about your job, your daily schedule, what you've done in the past, and, what you hope for in the future.
We're going to help you tell your full professional story. So let's get started with that very first question.
Let's do it.
So when someone asks, what do you do? They're really asking for a few key things.
Right. They want to know your job title, maybe who you work for, and a little bit about what you actually do.
Let's start with the easiest, most basic answer. Your job title.
This is the foundation.
Yeah.
And there are two super simple ways to say it. You can't go wrong with either one.
The first one is probably the most common. It uses the verb to be. You just say, I am a, and then your job title.
For example, I am a nurse.
Huh.
Or I am a graphic designer.
Simple, clear, direct. Now, notice that little word we're using, a.
Yes. This is a small detail, but it makes a big difference. You need to use a or an before a job title.
So if your job starts with a consonant sound, like designer, you say a designer.
But if it starts with a vowel sound, like accountant or editor.
Then you need to say an. So I am an accountant.
Exactly. It just helps the sentence flow. It's a small change that makes you sound much more natural.
Okay, so that's option one. What's the second way?
The second way is also very common, maybe a little more formal.
Hmm.
You use the verb work. I work as a, and then the job title.
So I work as a shop assistant.
Or I work as a driver. It means the exact same thing as I am a driver.
It just puts a little more emphasis on the action of working, I guess.
It does. But really, you can choose whichever one feels more comfortable for you. The key thing is clarity.
Right. Don't worry about finding the most, complicated official title for your job.
No. Just use the simple word that everyone understands. You can always add more detail later.
Okay, so you've said your title, I'm a nurse. What comes next in the conversation?
Well, the next logical question is where you work. The company or the type of place.
And for this, we have another really simple phrase. I work for.
I work for a hospital. Or I work for a big marketing company. The word for is key here.
Why is for so important? I hear a lot of learners say, I work in a hospital.
And that's not wrong. I work in a hospital is perfect for describing the location.
Okay.
But I work for a hospital answers a different question. It answers, who is your employer? It tells us the organization you belong to.
Oh, I see. So I work for Samsung tells us the company, while I work in a factory tells us the type of building.
Exactly. Both are useful, but work for is often what people are curious about first.
That's a great tip. Now, what about people who don't work for a company? People who work for themselves.
That is such an important point now. So many people are freelancers or own their own businesses.
So what's the simple phrase for that?
The phrase is, I'm self-employed.
I'm self-employed. Nice and short.
It is. And if you want to add a little more explanation, you can say something like,
I'm self-employed. It means I'm my own boss.
perfect. Or, I'm self-employed. I'm a freelance writer, so I find my own clients.
That gives a really clear picture. It shows you're independent.
Right. So now we know the what your title and the where your company. The most interesting part is next.
what you actually do, your responsibilities.
This is where you bring your job to life. And you can start with just simple action verbs. Think about what you do every day.
So if I'm a hotel receptionist, I could say, I check guests in and out, or I answer questions about the city.
Exactly. Simple, clear actions. But if you want to sound a bit more professional, we have two fantastic phrases.
Okay, I'm ready.
The first one is, I am responsible for.
Mm.
And then you add an action. This phrase is great because it shows ownership.
I am responsible for.
Aha.
Okay, so how does the grammar work here?
Great question. After for, the verb needs to be in the ingam form, the gerund.
Okay. So not I am responsible for manage the team.
Right, it has to be, I am responsible for managing the team.
Or for a graphic designer, I am responsible for creating the logos for new clients.
You've got it. It's a very common structure you'll see in, like, official job descriptions. It sounds very professional.
And the second phrase?
The second one is maybe a little simpler. My main task is to, and then the verb.
My main task is to. And here, the verb is just the simple base form, right?
Yes. Knowing. So for a teacher, my main task is to plan lessons for my students.
Or for a software tester, my main task is to find bugs in the new app.
Perfect. It clearly states your #1 priority at work.
Let's try to put all of that together in one complete answer.
Okay, let's do it. Imagine you're a social media manager.
All right. Someone asks me, what do you do? I could say, I work as a social media manager. I work for a small fashion brand. My main task is to create content for our Instagram, and I'm responsible for talking with our followers.
That is fantastic.
Mm.
It's clear, it's confident, and it gives a complete picture using only simple, high-frequency language.
So a little challenge for you listening right now. Pause for a second. Think about your job or what you study and try to make one sentence. Use either I am responsible for or my main task is to say it out loud.
Just saying it once helps lock it in your brain.
Okay, so once you've introduced yourself, the conversation naturally moves on to what your day actually looks like.
Your daily routine.
Right. Now we know your job title and what you're responsible for. But what does a normal day look like?
People are always curious about this. It helps them imagine your life. And the easiest place to start is with the time.
The numbers.
Yeah.
Your start and finish time, just keep it really, really simple.
Yep. You can say, I usually start work at 8:30 in the morning.
And I finish around 6 p.m.
Exactly. No need for complicated sentences. Just giving that time frame helps the other person understand the shape of your day.
Now, in the outline, we have a metaphor for this part. The original was a map of your day. We need a new one.
Okay, how about this? Your work routine is like the daily playbook.
The daily playbook. I like that. Like in sports, where a team has a plan for the game.
Precisely. The playbook shows all the moves, from the start to the end. When you describe your routine, you're just showing someone your playbook for the day.
So how do you introduce that idea? How do you signal that you're about to describe your playbook?
You can use a great little transition phrase like, a typical day for me looks something like this.
A typical day. I like that. It tells the listener, okay, get ready. I'm going to tell you the sequence of my day.
It does. It sets the stage. So let's open the playbook. What's the first play of the day?
The morning, usually. This is all about getting ready and planning.
Right. So you can use words that signal the start. Every morning, the first thing I do is...
Check my emails. That's a very common one.
Very common. Or, first, I make a cup of coffee and look at my schedule for the day.
A lot of jobs start with a meeting, too.
Mm-hmm. So you can use a sequencing word like then. Then, at 9 a.m., I have a short meeting with my team.
That word then is so useful. It's like turning the page in the playbook. It shows we're moving forward.
It does. So after the morning prep and meetings, you get into the main part of the day.
The main tasks. So you could say, after that, I focus on my main projects until lunchtime.
And lunchtime is like the halftime break in the game.
Yeah.
It's a key marker.
It is. It divides the day in two. So what happens in the second half?
The afternoon is often about follow-up or finishing things, you might say. In the afternoon, I usually make phone calls to clients.
Or After lunch, I work on writing my reports and answering any emails I missed.
That structure morning planning, main work, and then afternoon follow-up is a really simple and logical playbook that's easy for anyone to follow.
But a good playbook has more than just the main plays, right? It has the small details, too.
Yes, the personal touches. This is where you can talk about things like breaks or the people you work with.
Talking about a coffee break is so relatable. Everyone understands that.
Totally. You could say, I usually take a short break around 3 p.m. to grab a snack and stretch my legs.
It adds a little bit of color and humanity to your description. And what about your colleagues?
It's great to include them. It shows the social side of your job. I normally eat lunch with a few of my coworkers in the kitchen.
Or, we sometimes go for a short walk together if the weather is nice.
When you add those little details, you're not just listing tasks anymore. You're painting a full picture of your day.
Okay, let's try to put a full playbook together. Let's imagine a freelance social media manager again.
Good one. So what does their playbook look like?
Okay, so a typical day for me starts pretty early since I work from home. Every morning, I check my clients' social media accounts first thing. Then I spend a few hours creating and scheduling posts for the week. I usually take a break around noon to make lunch. After lunch, I focus on answering comments and messages from followers. I usually finish my day by looking at the analytics to see how the post performed.
That is a perfect playbook. It has a clear sequence. It uses those transition words.
Yeah.
Every morning, then after lunch, and it feels real.
So for you listening, remember that structure. Think of your day as a series of plays. What happens first, then what? It makes your story easy and interesting to follow.
We're not just teaching you words. We're teaching you how to structure your story. And that is so important for fluency.
So we know what you do, and we have your daily playbook. Let's talk about the stadium you play in.
The work environment, yes. Where you work and what it feels like.
This is a huge part of any job, and especially now, the answer isn't always just an office.
Not at all. The world of work has changed so much, so we need some new vocabulary for that.
Let's start with the one that's become so common, working from home.
The best phrase for this is, I work remotely.
Remotely, that's the key word.
It is. It means you're connected to the company, but you're not physically there. You could add, I work remotely from home for extra clarity.
And what if you do go to a physical place?
Then you just state it simply, I work in an office downtown, or I work in a large warehouse.
And then there's the mix of both, the hybrid job.
A very important term to know. You can just say, I have a hybrid job.
And if the person looks confused,
You give a simple definition. It means I work from home 3 days a week, and I go to the office for 2 days.
perfect. That clears it up immediately. And of course, some jobs aren't in a building at all.
Right. For those, you can just be direct. I work outdoors. That's perfect for a landscaper or a construction worker or a tour guide.
So once we know the location, the next thing people are curious about is the feeling of the place.
The atmosphere. Yes. Is it formal or informal?
Let's define that. What does a formal workplace feel like?
Formal usually means there are a lot of rules. People often wear suits and ties or very professional business clothes.
You might find this in a bank or a government office or a traditional law firm.
Exactly. The way people talk and act is usually very structured and, well, formal.
And the opposite, an informal workplace.
That's much more relaxed. The focus is on comfort and getting the work done, not on strict rules.
So you might wear jeans and a t-shirt to work.
This is very common in creative fields or tech startups or smaller companies. People are often more casual in how they speak to each other, too.
And sharing that detail really helps someone understand your daily life. It tells them about the culture of your company.
It does. And speaking of culture, the people are a huge part of the environment. Your coworkers.
Describing your team is so important. You can say something positive like, my colleagues are really friendly.
Or, my coworkers are very supportive. That's a great word, supportive. It means they help you when you need it.
And if you're on a very close team, you might even say,
I work in a small team and we're like a family. That says a lot. It implies trust and that you really care about each other.
okay, let's cover a few key vocabulary words for the workplace. These are words you'll hear all the time.
First up, open space office.
Ah, yes. What is that?
An open space office is one big room with lots of desks. There are no private offices or walls between people.
The idea is that it helps people communicate more easily.
It can, but it can also be a bit noisy sometimes. But it's a very common office design now.
Okay, next word, the one that causes a lot of stress, deadline.
A deadline is the final time or date you have to finish something.
It's not a suggestion, right?
No, it's the absolute limit. You can use it in a sentence like, I'm sorry I can't talk now, I have a very tight deadline.
Got it. Okay, now the people. Let's quickly define boss, coworker, and client.
Your boss is your manager, the person who gives you tasks and tells you what to do.
A coworker, or you can say colleague, is a person on your team. You work with them at the same level.
And a client is a customer. It's the person or the company that pays for your work.
Simple and clear. Okay, one last term, and it's a really positive one. Flexible hours.
Ooh, that's a great perk to have. A perk is a special benefit.
So what are flexible hours?
It means you have some choice about your start and finish times. Maybe you want to start at 7 a.m. and leave at 3 p.m. to pick up your kids.
Or maybe you prefer to start at 10 a.m. and work later.
Exactly. As long as you work your total hours, the company gives you that flexibility. It's a very popular benefit.
So, to sum it up, when you talk about your environment, think about the place, the feeling, and the people.
We've covered the what, the when, and the where. Now let's talk about the why, how you actually feel about your job.
Yes, the personal side, your job satisfaction, and also your career history. This is where you can really connect with someone.
It's a very human part of the conversation, isn't it?
Mm.
Talking about what you love or what you find difficult.
Let's start with the positive. How do you say you like your job in a simple way?
You could just use the verbs love or like and then add because.
So, I really like my job because I get to help people every day.
Or I love my job because it's very creative. You can also use a single powerful adjective. My job is really rewarding.
Rewarding, that's a great word. It means you feel good about the work you do. You feel like you're making a difference.
It is. Or you could say your job is challenging, which means it's difficult in a good way. It makes you think and grow.
And if you want to point to the one best part of your job,
There's a nice structure for that. I enjoy doing something the most. Remember that ing form again.
so a teacher might say, I enjoy seeing my students understand a new idea the most.
Yes. Or an accountant might say, I enjoy solving a complex financial puzzle the most. It highlights your passion.
But, no job is perfect. Every job has parts that are not so fun.
Absolutely. And it's okay to talk about that. It makes you sound honest and relatable.
So how do we talk about the challenges without sounding too negative?
A great way is to use the phrase, what I enjoy least is.
What I enjoy least.
And you can soften it by adding the word sometimes. For example, if you're a chef, you could say, I love creating new dishes, but what I enjoy least is cleaning the kitchen at the end of the night.
That's a perfect example. It's balanced. You start with the positive, then mention the small negative part.
What about when a job is just, generally difficult? Maybe the hours are really long or it's high pressure.
For that, we use the balanced phrase again. You state the negative, but you immediately follow it with a positive. The but is key.
Right. So you could say, my job can be very stressful sometimes.
But I work with an amazing team, and that makes a big difference.
That is such a mature and positive way to frame it. You're acknowledging the difficulty, but you're focusing on the solution or the good part.
It shows you have a good perspective. Now, sometimes people are ready for a change. They want a new job.
A very common situation. The best, most positive phrase for this is, I'm looking for a new opportunity.
Opportunity. That word sounds so much better than just saying, I need a new job. It sounds proactive.
It does. And you can give a simple reason why. Maybe it's practical. I'm looking for a new opportunity that's closer to my home.
Or about your career growth. I want to find a role with more responsibility.
These are simple, universal reasons that everyone understands.
Okay, so let's look backward for a minute. Talking about your past jobs is how you show your journey.
It gives context to who you are today. And there is one phrase that is absolutely essential for this.
Let me guess. I used to.
That's the one. I used to work, or I used to be.
Mm.
This structure is perfect because it clearly says this was true in the past, but it is not true now.
So, I used to work in a restaurant, but now I work in an office. It shows a clear change.
Or I used to be a sales assistant, oh, now I'm a team manager. It shows your promotion, your growth.
And when you talk about past jobs, it's always a good idea to mention what you learned.
Yes, every job teaches you something. You can say, in my last job, I learned how to be very organized.
Or I learned a lot about communicating with difficult customers.
This is so important. Now, we need a new metaphor here. The outline said, seeds you planted.
Okay, how about this? Every job experience is like collecting a new tool for your toolbox.
Ooh, I love that. A toolbox. So
Wow.
practical.
Right. In one job, you learn patience, that's a tool. In another, you learn a specific software, another tool.
So when you talk about your past, you're really just showing someone all the amazing tools you have in your toolbox now.
Exactly. I used to work in customer service, so I collected a great tool for communication. Now I use that tool in my management job.
That's a powerful way to think about it.
Yeah.
You're not just telling a story. You're showing the value you've built over time.
Okay, we've covered the past and the present. Let's finish the story by looking to the future.
Your goals and ambitions. This is an exciting part of the conversation because it shows your forward thinking.
What's the best way to talk about future plans?
A very common and polite structure is I'd like to, which is short for I would like to,
So, in the future, I'd like to start my own business.
or one day I'd like to be a project manager. It expresses a hope or a goal in a nice, soft way.
You can also talk about the skills you want to build. This shows your focus on development.
Right, you could say, I want to improve my presentation skills, or I'm planning to take a course to learn more about digital marketing.
That's great because it shows your goal isn't just a dream, you have a plan to get there.
And what about the big one? The ultimate dream job.
This is always a fun question. You can introduce it by saying, my dream job is to,
Be a travel photographer.
or my dream job is to run an animal shelter.
So here's a little challenge for everyone listening.
Yeah.
What's your dream job? Try to form the sentence in English and say it out loud right now.
Just saying it can make it feel a little more real.
It really can. Okay, so we've spent all this time learning how to talk about ourselves.
But a conversation is a two-way street.
Exactly. The other crucial skill is knowing how to ask good questions. This is how you show you're interested in the other person.
This is so important. If you only talk about yourself, the conversation will end very quickly.
So the first and most obvious question is the one we started with.
What do you do?
Simple, direct. Always start there. After they answer, you need some good follow-up questions.
The best and simplest one is, oh, interesting. Do you like your job?
Yes. That question opens the door to a more personal, emotional answer. It moves beyond just the facts.
Another great follow-up is about their experience. How long have you worked there?
That's a good one because their answer, whether it's 10 years or 2 months, gives you more to talk about.
If they say 10 years, you can ask what they like about the company. If they say 2 months, you can ask how they're finding it.
Precisely. If you want to get a more detailed answer about their actual work, you can ask.
What's the most interesting part of your job?
I love that question because it asks them to share their passion. It's much better than a yes-no question like, is your job interesting?
That's a great point. And finally, if you want to understand their daily routine, their playbook.
You can ask, what's a typical day like for you?
Or, what do you do on a typical day? Both questions invite them to share the story of their day, just like we've been practicing.
So if you can remember those few questions, you'll be able to keep any conversation about work going.
It's your toolkit for being an active, engaged listener.
Well, we have covered so much ground today, from the first introduction to your biggest dreams.
We really have. We learned how to introduce our job, how to describe our daily playbook with sequencing words, and how to talk about our work environment.
We also talked about our feelings, what we like, what we find challenging, and how to tell our career story by showing the tools we've collected in our toolbox.
And we finished with those essential questions you need to ask others to create a real conversation.
Remember, being able to share your story in English is like adding color to a black and white picture.
I love that.
It takes your communication from just facts and figures to something vibrant, personal, and alive. It helps you connect.
The ability to tell people who you are and what you do with confidence is such a powerful skill.
And before we go, we have one final, very important challenge for you.
We want you to put this into practice. Think about everything we discussed today. What is the one word or lesson you learned today? Write it in the comments below.
It could be a new word like remote or deadline, or a phrase like I'm responsible for. Let us know what was most useful for you. We love reading your comments.
Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation today.
Keep practicing, and we'll talk to you in the next one.